Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Katariina Kari, and indeed lead ontologist at IKEA Systems BV. We've been for the past 2 years building a IKEA Knowledge Graph, and today I'm going to talk to you about how we're doing knowledge graph-driven recommendations. But it's good to note and to understand that IKEA is a franchise system. That means that IKEA Systems BV, the one I work for, is really the franchisor. So they're responsible for the trademark of IKEA and for the entire concept, whereas we also have franchisees, different organizations that then actually run the IKEA stores. You know, the blue box on the potato field that some of you might actually know or been to. And what's important to understand is, while we don't, in IKEA Systems, don't really do the commerce, we do want to set up our franchisees for success. So we have all these explanations and guidelines, etc., that we're providing to the franchisees to really create that unique and known IKEA experience throughout the entire world. And it really does it well in the stores. So if you've ever been to an IKEA store, you might know that we have all these furnitures in display in different parts, and we also have entire room settings at display. And then when you look closely, or maybe next time you'll notice that we always give the chance to give some accessories to the main furniture, such as this sofa here. We're setting it, displaying also a lint roller with which you can get the dogs or cats hair off your sofa, as well as some decorative cushions and make it more comfortable, etc. So we're doing that in the store, and this is a thought out concept in the store. But how can we do it online? And that's what we are here for. That's the idea of an IKEA Knowledge Graph, that we want to set our franchisees up for success also online. It's not solved yet, so we're working on it. So let's compare those two scenarios. In the store, in the physical store, there's a section where you can look at all the different sofas and couches that we're selling, but not all of them are there. We have like 20 or 25 or so on display. Some color options, but there's still more that you could get. And with those, we show a few accessories, 2 to 3 accessories, like decorative cushions or throws, etc. So overall, the interior designers working in the IKEA stores have something like 75 different combinations that they need to set up, and that's quite manageable. But online, this is not manageable, at least in a manual way, because online we have all the sofas, and we have something like almost 2,000 sofas. And then, because of the UI of the web and the website, in order to really give those accessory recommendations, we have to have at least something like 10 recommendations of accessories on display. And that alone in itself, and it's not even the 10, it could be more, because sometimes we don't have those products in stock, or they're not even available in the market. So for every furniture, we need to generate 10 or more accessories. And as you can see, that's so much more than a human can handle. It's over 20,000 or even more combinations. And this is just sofas. So if you think about all the furniture we are selling in IKEA, it's even more. We need to generate these accessory recommendations, because it's a fool's work and it's impossible to connect each furniture with their accessories manually. So in the store, to summarize, in the store it works, it's manageable. Online, it's not. How are recommendations done nowadays? The industry standard that has been around for a while is that we use the wisdom of the crowd. In a way, it's a statistical analysis of how other customers are shopping online. So the recommendation that you see is usually because you because other customers who bought this also were interested in this. That's maybe you recognize this from certain e-commerce sites. And this approach has some downsides. As more and more customers are opting out of cookies or becoming aware of their personal data online, the amount of data that drives this statistical monster of wisdom of crowd goes down. So it declines as the amount of data available declines. And this approach isn't also so good because it just gives us the end result, but it doesn't really give us the why. It doesn't give the why to the customer as well. So it is, while it is leaning to results, we're missing out on opportunities. This is not from IKEA, where we don't sell nebulizers or hydrogen peroxide for that matter. But wisdom of the crowd can also generate mistakes that can be even deadly. And this is an example one of my colleagues in IKEA picked up when she had a flu. So she wanted to get a nebulizer, and she was on this like very famous platform where you can get those and order them online. And she got this recommendation. That's not a good recommendation. Please don't follow it. It's deadly. So these kinds of mistakes can be hard to vet. And I don't want to speculate why the wisdom of the crowd is saying this, but you might have some guesses, which I won't go into. And if we do this wisdom of the crowd, we actually miss out on a huge opportunity to serve quality interior designer knowledge that we in IKEA hold. IKEA has been around for over 75 years, and there's a lot of information that we have accumulated over that time that we hold in the company, and that our interior designers, some who've worked for the company for decades, hold. So that opportunity we should really be able to also capture online, that treasure trove of knowledge. So we would like to capture the why. We would like to capture the interior designer knowledge. And if we do, we say our hypothesis is, and we've already shown it online, is if we capture the why for recommendations, we can do better recommendations. We can make sure they're of quality, they are pre-vetted, and they might even inspire the customer. And we can also, if we capture this why, this interior designer knowledge, we can reuse it for other applications, such as something completely different than image recognition, computer vision. And that you wouldn't think of that at first, but already now our computer vision data scientists are super excited about this information, because think about it, if we're saying that a cushion goes well with a sofa, then they're quite likely to see it in images and recognize those connections, etc. And maybe they're seeing the sofa and a part of the cushion, but then they'll be able to know that that is the cushion. And it's not hard for us to capture the why of IKEA, because we really have these interior designers available, and they have this solid mental model under which they're operating when they are setting up the stores. And they know how to combine those accessories. So here we go. Let's capture those mental models and formulate them as a set of business rules. And we are using the knowledge graph to capture the mental models as business rules. Adam, my colleague from IKEA, is going to be talking about this more tomorrow. So in Knowledge Graph Enhanced Product Catalog, he's going to be talking exactly more about the process of our interior designers and translating their mental models to the knowledge graph. That's tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. So if you want to dive deeper into that, please attend that, and he'll be talking about it. But I can shortly show you what's happening, at least on the knowledge graph in technical terms. So I don't know, I have written a blog post before about the 3 levels of a knowledge graph. This is not my idea. I saw it first time by a talk from Dave McComb from the Semantic Arts, where he was expanding on the this classical notion of that we have the ontology and then we have the instances, but then the instances were divided into 2 layers. And the idea is that the top layer, the green layer, is the ontology level, and they run in the hundreds. There's not so many class and property definitions in a knowledge graph as there are then taxonomy definitions, which forms this second layer, the blue layer, the category, you could call them the category layer. These are very special instances because they're referenced a lot in the data graph. They have a high page rank, and it's good to capture them in taxonomies, for example. And then the bottom layer are just like all the regular instances that there are millions of or thousands of, millions of, with a lot of different kind of connections. So in IKEA and for the business rule definition, it translates something like this. On the first layer, the green layer, top layer, we are capturing the existing, or we're saying that we have product attributes. I mean, we have products defined in the ontology layer as well, but we also define that there exists these different kinds of product attributes, like material or the shape of the product, or maybe its color, etc. So different kinds of product attributes exist. And then we have the type for the business rule for accessories. So the products that go well with furniture. And we have also business rules for furniture. And on the ontology level, we also capture the definition that accessory goes well with furniture. So the property that goes between these rules, or that a specialized a specialized way of going well with is it makes it comfortable, or it helps caring for it. So you see that soon later in action, but that's the terminology and the conceptualization that we need in order to formulate our business rules. Then on the second middle layer, and the categories layer, we go to the actual business rules. That's where we define them. So we're saying, well, there's the shape of the cushion, and there's also this other product attribute for suitable for indoors. And this information we both use to create the business rule for the accessory of cushions for indoors. So we could also have cushions for outdoors, different materials, different things, but we have these cushions for indoors, and that's our business rule. It connects to these product attributes, is composed from them. And then we have another business rule, the business rule for the furniture, which is the indoor sofa. So that also is driven from attributes such as the shape of the sofa and the fact that it's suitable for indoors. And then finally, we're connecting these 2 rules and saying that the cushion for indoors makes the indoor for sofa comfortable. And then that's not the only rule. There are many of these different kind of combinations. And this is the level where our interior designers are working on defining these rules. And finally, on the data level, for example, and there are thousands of these, we then have the connection. So a particular cushion like Svarthö would make the Söderhamn sofa more comfortable. There's even more happening here. We're also ordering these results based on the styles. So the styles are here coordinated as well as their price level, so that the budget of the customer is met appropriately. And so for the sofa, for the indoor sofa, we have the accessory rule for cushion for indoors. We have the accessory rule for throws. There's a few things that go into that because we need to check that the size is correct, the size of the throw is appropriate for the sofa. And then there is also the business rule for the lint roller. And now we're saying that the lint roller helps caring for the indoor sofa, and both throw and cushion for indoor sofa make the sofa more comfortable. And so if those are the general rules, they are defined only once through product attributes. And then the actual products on the bottom layer, the data level, are then found automatically via these rules. So we're finding the lint roller, the actual lint roller. Currently, we're selling only 1 lint roller, but maybe in the future we could sell 2, and that would be automatically picked up as well. Then we're finding all the throws. There are a few of these and tens more that we have in IKEA, as well as these few cushions and tens more of these cushions. And then we have all the, almost 2,000 sofas on the right side. and they are picked up by the business rule for the furniture. And so we multiply everything on the left with everything on the right, do a Cartesian product. Voila, we have hundreds, not only tens, but hundreds of accessory recommendations for each indoor sofa. And this we keep on repeating for every kind of furniture that we have in IKEA. And so we can reliably give IKEA.com a stream of recommendations instead of a few hand-picked ones. So to summarize, on the top layer, the ontology layer, that defines the expressiveness of our business rule model. So currently we have a few possible connections with which we can, make the rule. And we want to expand it. We are seeing that the expressiveness of the model only catches maybe 80% of the accessory furniture connections. So we want to do more. We want to introduce different kinds of logical operators, etc., to our rule, and we're all the time expanding and improving it. And then on the middle blue layer, we have the actual business rules in action. And what's really exciting about Adam's talk tomorrow is you will see exactly how and what kind of tooling we're giving our interior designers so that they can themselves connect them here on this middle layer. And then finally, the vast data layer, millions of those different kinds of products and connections, that's 100% only generated, and we generate new connections based on our business rules, and that then drives the services that provide the recommendation stream to IKEA.com. Now, I would like to call out to all tool developers and highlight that we need to put a lot of effort into making this rule definition usable for non-tech users. This is not feasible for an ontologist to sit with each one, but we need to have a tool that makes it fun and enjoyable and actually productive for domain experts to be able to define these rules. I think today the options available is OWL. So that's not good for non-tech users, not even good for some tech users. And the other one is data log. That's even nerdier. Come on, we can be giving that to interior designers. So we need wonderful tooling with which we can do that, and we're currently working towards that. But I'm saying that other tool providers out there and anyone, this I think should be a focus, because then we can really tap into the wealth of knowledge of people who hold it. And that will conclude my talk. Thank you so much for having me here again at KGC. It's always a pleasure to come here. Result Island starts to feel like home almost. This is a really nice place, I find, and such a nice calm oasis next to Manhattan. I really enjoy any kind of discussions, any kind of questions you have also now. Would be really nice to answer them. But if you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn and also on Twitter. Thank you so much for listening to my story.
Any questions?
The interior decorators you were talking about aren't customers. Or are they customers?
They're not customers. This is not crowdsourcing. The interior designers are experts who've themselves been building the stores. So they've been like in the IKEA stores and putting those accessories next to the furniture, and they know a lot about how to actually do that.
So to make it comfortable is a why.
Sorry? To make it comfortable?
Yeah, that was one of the
exactly. The
why.
The why is to make it comfortable, but also that because it's an indoor sofa, it needs an indoor cushion. But the comfortable is also the why. So it's kind of, I would say it's the whole business rule of the connection, because otherwise, with the wisdom of the crowd, you just see a cushion pop up. So you don't really there's not more about it. But if we have a rule saying it's an indoor cushion, like giving it a name, give it an IRI already, and then we have the sofas being also having an IRI, that itself already establishes certain kind of identity. And then the final thing is that there's a connection saying also it makes it more comfortable, which means on IKEA.com, we can then to the customer say, this will make it more comfortable.
So, so as a customer, do I have an opportunity to say, I'm buying this cushion to make the couch more comfortable?
Yes, that's the possibility. So again, we're not the retailer, but we're giving the possibility to the retailers to drive online this experience at the customer. That like, would you want to look at the things that make this comfortable, or would you like look at the ones that help you maintain it and care for your furniture? Yeah.
Thanks a lot for the talk. It was really cool. I think you generate hundreds of recommendations, but the next step is typically a way to rank them. I mean, in
Yes.
the traditional way. Is there something that you do after that step that is not related to the knowledge graph, or maybe a few
It
words
is
on that?
actually related to the knowledge graph. So we are ranking them, and we're ranking them based on some other interior designer rules, which is that style matters. The style should match. And we have our own style system, internal style system that we're using to rank them. So that, because there's a lot of thought into the design of our products and how they should be matched. And the other one that we match on is based on price level. So
But
yeah.
all of that is built into the knowledge graph, the first layer as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Then later there would be other non-knowledge graph layers, such as is there an availability for them? So that's just checking the stock. And then there is a maybe a bigger one, a kind of sales one, which is which one is optimizing the margin.
Yeah.
And so on. And finally, you could even add personalization to it. And that then can have some knowledge graph ways to do it, or some machine learning ways. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually had a very similar question, but just to follow up on that, my experience with some of these rule systems is very difficult to get the granularity level right. Like you can say, okay, well, you should have outdoor cushions with outdoor couches, but then my question was similar to the other one. Can we refine those further? And and I guess what you're saying is, it's part of it is you can elicit general rules from our experts, and then you use additional things that may be in the graph to do the ranking and refining and filtering them further, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you share anything about tying this to revenue? You're putting all this work in. How much more money is IKEA making, or is there interested to see the business impact?
Well, the business impact is the ability to do accessories that are correct. So we're looking at conversion, that we always look at conversion, and that's what we would measure. Currently, there's like non-fitting stuff like the boomerang hanger being recommended with a sofa, because that's what everyone is kind of grabbing anyway, or lamps, and that's like not necessarily appropriate or engaging for the customer. So we're measuring this with conversion, but this isn't like that expensive to do, because ultimately an interior designer can do this for like a month, and we're already having loads of quality recommendations. So once we set up I guess the main investment is the infrastructure, but the infrastructure needs to be set only once, and after that it's going to go on a roll where it's producing these things. And then another argument that we're doing why we should invest in this is exactly the reusability, that out of the box, without any effort, another use case is being ticked with this, because now they are improving their accuracy. Yeah. Thanks for the question.
Hi, I know IKEA uses a lot of like headless technology, and they're kind of leading with kind of content management system, e-commerce systems. What are the other dependency technologies that you rely on, or that you have to collaborate with to ensure that downstream applications or downstream teams are able to utilize the knowledge graph?
So our biggest dependency is in our product data system. That is, like in most places, quite legacy, quite traditional, and we're trying to get our foot in the door and say, let us take care of the product data in the future. Let's have a knowledge graph approach for managing the product data, and not like the traditional approach. So an IRI-based approach. But then, like, we don't really have bigger dependencies except for IKEA.com having really big expectations for the performance of our services. So we have to make a case of like, we are reliable, use us for the recommendations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, thank you. It pretty much touches on what was mentioned before. So I guess that you have to make many recommendations globally to customers all the time. So do you have any bandwidth issues, speed issues, things like that you have to deal with? Because I suppose you have so much data.
Yes, and ultimately the responsibility for bandwidth is with IKEA.com, which is a completely different company than that I work for and where we run our service. Because IKEA.com, the retailers are our franchisees. So they have their own system, and they're using our service, and they're implementing their own strategies of maybe caching all of our information and so on. We're currently revisiting the architecture, obviously together with them, because it's such an established partnership, and rethinking if this should be on their side or all those kinds of things. Maybe we just publish rules, they run. There are a lot of opportunities that we're still figuring out with them to exactly tackle that bandwidth issue. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have one last question.
Hi, as I understand you have an ontology, and I want to know how agile is your process. It's like if you have a new material or a new style, is it hard to add a new style or material?
It's actually not that hard to add a new one, because as you know, the ontology model is dynamic. Just changing the data model or not changing it completely, that might introduce breaking changes. So that's going to take a little bit more hurdle. But introducing a new part or a new information into the model is not needing any kinds of migration. It's just, there's more information available. Now I can revisit my accessory business rules and make them a little bit better, because now I can also reference to this material here and so on. So it's the system. That's what I really love about Knowledge Graph, is its dynamic data model, and that you don't need the integration, and the new information comes in, you just establish your data pipeline process for it, and then you can use it and become better and more accurate. Yeah.
Okay, well, join me in thanking Katariina.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.